Welcome to a new episode of the Poultry Keepers Podcast. In this episode, Jeff Mattocks and Carey Blackmon complete their discussion on poultry health issues with Part 4 of the Poultry Health Master Class. So let's jump right in where we stopped last week.
Now, if you grab a hold of it and it's really firm, like a brand new fresh grape that's not even ripe, like you got at the store, it's going to be really firm. It'll take something to squeeze it, okay? Compared to the grape that's been in your refrigerator for 3 weeks that you probably should have thrown away a week ago. Now, you know how mushy those are?
Yeah.
That's what a heart attack heart feels like. Okay? It'll have no muscle tone. It'll have hardly any firmness. A lot of times the pericardium sac around the heart will be cloudy, okay? And sometimes the veins in that outer surface of the heart will be extremely dark. Like they'll stand out. They'll be vividly dark. So heart attack's one of the easiest things to diagnose. And in a lot of cases, birds will actually flip over and be laying on their back with their feet in the air when they die of a heart attack. So that's where the posturing thing,
that's why when people send you pictures, you want a picture before they touch it.
Just get as close as you can. Give me a really good picture. The position it dies in can tell you probably 25% of the story.
Okay.
But now people think they have to get it in the right position to show you their dead chicken. You just done screwed up everything I wanted to see. So just leave it alone. Just leave it alone.
What about egg drop syndrome?
It's not often that you see egg drop syndrome, but so when birds are out wandering around and an egg with no shell or an egg maybe with a little bit of membrane, leathery membrane on it or like that, it's carried by ducks. It's pretty common with migratory ducks, and it doesn't affect them as much as it does the chicken, right? But it can be catastrophic. You're going to see a significant drop, like you're going to see probably a 40 to 50% drop in egg production. And you're going to see just piles of egg all over the place. And it's like the hen loses control of her oviduct and her ability to place the egg properly. It just falls out her backside. Just makes a mess everywhere. Again, it's a virus, egg drop syndrome. Hard to combat.
But that would be one of those things where if it was a pullet and it laid an egg that looked like that, it's not egg drop syndrome. It's just a pullet egg. And like everything's not working yet.
If you get one, okay, let's say you've got a 20 or 25 bird flock, right? If you get an occasional one egg with leathery membrane or something like that, that's one thing, right? If you start seeing 3 or 4 or 5 of those in a day,
you got a problem.
You got a problem. Okay?
Yeah.
And it can affect pullets. It can affect older birds. It's not specific to age whatsoever.
Got it.
It's rare to see it. But the West Coast had a lot of it, and they just didn't go public and tell anybody. That was 2 years ago. I had a larger flock of 20,000 birds that got bit by EDSV, egg drop syndrome virus. And now it's cutting into his income pretty significantly. So we were doing a whole bunch of stuff to try and get it. And really, you just increase the nutrition. You help the bird fight it off on their own. So you're boosting the nutrition to the next level again. And again, you're trying to minimize stress. We did run some garlic in the water, some garlic tincture in the water, things like that.
Yeah.
You wait it out. And 45 days later, things got back on track and the production came back up again. I didn't hear anything more about it, but it was a thing for almost 90 days. He was losing a pile of money.
So that was the last one that I had on my list that I got from folks. Now I want to talk about natural remedies. Probably the first and what I think is the most common is garlic. What all would you suggest people use garlic for?
Tinctured garlic or even if you're not a prepared individual and it's an emergency. If you bruise up some garlic, bruise a few cloves of garlic, and slice it up a little bit, let it sit in a 5-gallon bucket for 24 to 36 hours, you're going to get some of the benefits of the garlic, the allicin in the garlic. It's not going to be as good as the garlic tincture, which we've given that recipe away how many times? Carey,
It
you
is
made
in the
some.
file section.
You made some. Have you used any? Okay.
On me.
Okay. But garlic has been, for centuries, almost millennium, garlic has been used as a nature's antibiotic. Okay. So it has that effect. I didn't know this until not very long ago, but you remember when the Black Plague, the bubonic plague went through Europe, and it was this thing? It was terrifying. Lots of people died. People would carry a clove of garlic in a little leather sack around their neck.
Around their neck, yeah.
Yeah. Come to find out that the off-gassing vapors of that garlic constantly going into their nostrils and mouth when they breathe was enough effect to give them a layer of protection from the plague.
So
How's that for crazy, huh?
So it not only will it help with vampires, but it also helps with the plague
Yeah.
and CRD or whatever else.
But you get the most effect out of it if it's bruised. Okay.
Yeah. So when I made my tincture, I took a whole bowl, pulled the outer skin, the flaky crap, pulled that off, and put it on a cutting board. And I used a rubber mallet. My wife was like, "What are you doing?" Making a tincture.
I'm bruising my garlic.
She said, "I don't think that garlic's good anymore." I said, "Oh no, I need it like this. This is exactly what I want." It'll let Allison come out. Who's Allison? I'll tell you about it later. And she just shook her head and went back to watching TV. Let's see. Brian wants to know, what is the best natural treatment for external parasites?
It's not a one thing external treatment. There's not. You need to be running dust baths. I like wood or coal ashes. It's excellent. You don't have that, I'd mix up something for sure that has sulfur in it. But internally, I would be feeding them some garlic and some sulfur to work on it from the inside out. And when you change the blood chemistry with the sulfur and the garlic, the external parasites will no longer like to feed on your chicken.
Nope.
So I would do a combination of dust baths, garlic and sulfur in the feed. At some point, Brian, you're going to have to do 100% clean out in the nest boxes, roost, bedding, everything. And when I say 100%, I'm talking like all the dust, cobwebs. You're doing a blow down from top to bottom, getting all the old dander and dust out of there. And then you're going to go through and disinfect all that with something that will get rid of the mites and the lice. Once you have them, they're a pain to get rid of. And it's hard you almost have to move all your birds to another location while you're doing that clean out, or a really nice warm spring day. And you run them all outside and you better get busy. Yeah. Because they're going to want their nesting space and roosting space back.
Yeah. So what about oregano? I know oregano is it's a natural antibiotic. What all would it be good for, and how would you recommend using it?
It's not an antibiotic. So I'm glad you said that, and I'm not picking on you. It's an antimicrobial. So it will work against bacteria, but it's also a really nice antiviral. It works within the digestive tract only. So the development of using the oregano with a little bit of thyme and cinnamon oil from the better companies out there, which I promote, the Strong Animal people, which is a subsidiary or part of Brauco. I trust their science and I trust their way of doing it. Excellent for necrotic enteritis, excellent for coccidiosis, anything, E. coli, salmonella, anything going on in the digestive tract. So it doesn't do much in the bloodstream.
Right.
Yeah, you can't get the concentrations high enough. But somebody figured out that oregano oil contains carvacol and thiamol, and those are the two active ingredients in Listerine. Okay, and they're extremely great as far as antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. It's a great product. But I like to use all these things like garlic, oregano, cinnamon, thyme. I like to have them available in my toolbox as a treatment. And when you start feeding them all the time, or when they become part of the daily routine, you can no longer use them as a treatment. The inside of that chicken has adapted, right? So the microbes in her gut have adapted to being fed oregano on a daily basis. So I like to use things like that. I'm big on using herbs for treating, but if you feed them every day, they're no longer in the toolbox for a treatment, and they do not have the same effect.
So, I mean, that makes it to where it's like the same reason doctors don't want to give a kid antibiotics just because you think they need them. If you take it and you don't need it, eventually your body will build up a resistance. And when you do need it, you're going to be SOL. Let's see. We got a question here. It says, will scalding interfere with the results you're going to get when you're going to perform a necropsy on a chicken you're going to eat? So if he wants to do one to see what a perfectly healthy, or if that person wants to do one to see if it's going to be perfectly healthy as a base, if they scald the chicken first, will that affect it?
If you do a proper scald, right, and your temperature is not too high, and you don't leave it in there for 10 minutes, if you do your scald correctly with 140, 145 temperature for roughly 45 to 60 seconds, no, it will not interfere with doing a necropsy. You're fine. Okay.
Yeah.
You're all good.
It's really fast.
It doesn't take long to get those. If the temperature's right, it doesn't take long on the dung, right, on the scald to get the feathers to break loose and make them easy for plucking. So if the scald is done right, and no, it's not going to interfere with the results. The only thing that, if there was a skin lesion or something on the surface of the bird, that would be the only thing that you're going to throw off. But no, internals, everything internally is still fine to do a necropsy.
Got it. Homestead Matters says oregano oil is also amazing pain management for humans.
I don't know for pain management.
Yeah, me neither. But Tamara has I can't remember what it's called now. But pain is a constant thing for her all over her body. And the doctors wanting to put her up for pain management and all this kind of stuff. And she really don't want to do that. So I'm going to look into this, see if I can't get her some relief, because she has like inflammation here and there and all kinds of stuff.
So you didn't try the berries that Dwayne was telling us about? You never heard about? You didn't hear that?
No. Recently, like, she didn't always see the way I did about natural stuff until she's seen that I haven't had an antibiotic in over a year. I'll drink some stuff that tastes horrendous, that's got garlic and the stuff that you mentioned earlier,
CEG.
from Rauco.
But you're not using the Rauco stuff. You're using the CEG, aren't you?
So I've used the CEG, but I've also used the other.
You've used the Prosperio?
Yeah. I made a tincture with it, and I felt really horrible, and I needed to go to work. And trying the CEG right before you go hop in your truck to take off, a tablespoon of it's not going to affect your driving skills. However, the officer that pulls you over. Yeah. So I tried the other stuff. It's a debate which tastes worse, but 2 hours later, I felt better.
So again, see the Prosperio, if you've got an intestinal flu, stomach virus, food poisoning, something like that, the Prosperio is the ticket. You take a tablespoon of that, give it 45 minutes, you should be on the right track. It's horrible going down. It is horrible. And has its own burning effect, but it's because of the oregano oil.
Add some cayenne, some garlic, some echinacea, and more
Don't do that.
oregano in with it. Man, it tastes rough. But because like I felt like I had a stomach flu type stuff,
When you took the right stuff, that would not be CEG.
and I took a few, like an hour or so later, I almost felt like a new person. By the end of the day, I did feel noticeably better. Yeah. Turmeric. What's that good for?
That's pretty much, I don't know all the benefits of turmeric. Okay.
Mhm.
Or turmeric, however you want to pronounce it, doesn't matter to me, but I know that it's excellent for joint health and relieving joint swelling and joint pain. Other than that, I haven't studied turmeric long enough. It's not in my normal tool bag.
Yeah. So me neither. One of the reason it popped up is while I was spent a ridiculous amount of time on ResearchGate, I ran into a study that talked a lot about this, and it basically compared turmeric to being like ibuprofen. Really good for anti-inflammatory support. It actually supports the liver, unlike ibuprofen, but really good anti-inflammatory for animals that have joint pains.
Humans, animals, whatever. So,
Yeah. Cayenne pepper.
the big benefit of cayenne pepper is it's a co-administer there. Cayenne causes the tissue, that it comes in contact, like the digestive tract, the gut, proventriculus, and all that. It'll swell. It'll soften and swell the tissue.
Right.
So if you've got something like oregano going in there, or you've got other echinacea, garlic, it allows a higher level. It allows a much higher level of absorption. Now, a large amount of the internal parasites don't like capsaicin, right? So it'll run them off, but it's not something that you want to feed all the time. There's actually a pretty good study for the turkey folks, anybody with turkeys. It runs off blackhead, right? So putting cayenne pepper, you want the higher Scoville units, but putting cayenne or hot pepper in turkey feed works not only as a preventative and as a treatment for blackhead in turkeys. Pretty amazing, actually, because when you go look up blackhead, it'll tell you that there's no treatment. There's no like antibiotic or anything that will work against blackhead.
Yeah. Okay.
It works. A friend of mine did the research when he was at NCAT,
Yeah.
the National Center for Appropriate Technology. It used to be the old ATRA, but
That's where you can get real nerdy.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we have.
Did you get that homepage that I asked you for?
Yes. I was fixing to pop it up. Also, Homestead Matters, can you send me like some dosage information or something like that? Just send me a PM on that on Facebook if you're on there or something, or send me an email because I'm really curious about that from my wife. Let's see.
It was pokeberries. You never heard about the pokeberries from Dwayne? You need to get with him on that.
Okay.
All right, folks. So earlier in the show, in the comment section, if you've never been to the Merc Vet Mag, Carey put the link in for the Merc Vet Mag.
I'm fixing to do it again.
And this is where veterinarians go when you stump them. This is where they go to get information and help diagnose things. So you need to bookmark, keep this Merc Vet Manual. You need to have it at your disposal. Spend some time looking through your least favorite subject, things like coccidiosis, necrotic enteritis, CRD. You can go look at all the things that we've talked about, right? It'll tell you what to look for. It'll give you the symptoms, what it does to the bird, what you might. A lot of times they have really good pictures for those of you like me who don't like to read. and they'll tell you if there's a treatment, management tips, all kinds of stuff. And so for the folks who come here, I'd much rather you get your information from a place like this than out there in poultry groups on social media, because there's so much bad information
Oh
out
yeah.
there, and people just don't know what they're doing. Going and looking at the Merck Vet Manual can be your friend. It's nerdy. I'd probably go to the Merck Vet Manual 3 to 5 times a week when I'm talking to people on the phone, trying to make sure, or they want proof of what I told them. It probably is. So I go there and I get the link, or I'll copy the
Send it to
information,
them.
send it to them. Right.
Here you go.
I've been relying on the Merck Vet Manual for over 20 years. Okay. So it's a thing. It used to be a hard copy paperback that would sit on your shelf. It was wonderful that somebody scanned it all in and made it available this way, but you can get it either way. But
So I was going to order a copy of it, and I was told not to, that they didn't recommend it unless you were going to subscribe, because apparently for vets, they have a service to where that they can pay X amount every, I don't know. And every time they release a certain number of updates or update a certain amount of their information, they'll send them another copy. So I was told to download the app, downloads, and you can use it on your phone. It's in the Apple Store and the Google Store, or bookmark the webpage because it's free. You don't have to pay nothing for it at all. And it updates whenever there is an update, whether it's a treatment or a new disease they find, anything like that, they update it.
Yep.
It's got a lot of pictures. So,
anyway,
we like pictures.
It covers all species of animals. It does a really good job. My skin crawls and the hair on the back of my neck stands up when I see people the keyboard quarterbacks are given diagnosis for things, and they're completely wrong. This is where I go. If I don't know, this is where I go.
What's really funny to me is, like, when you read through and you see some of the questions that people have asked, and you see the ones that are way off, and then you'll type in, personally, I think this is what I've seen in the past. This is what I've seen. And people start chastising you like you're an idiot. And then I'll go here, find the link that my information came from, and I'll just drop it in the comments.
Yeah.
Like, where did you pull your crap from? I actually pull it from a veterinarian manual. Yeah. I don't blow smoke about everything. I don't mess around about my chicken.
Mhm.
Laura wants to know if peacocks can get blackhead.
Everything that I've read says yes, they can. They're closely enough related to turkeys and other types of large game fowl that they can be affected by blackhead. Yes, it is possible.
And this comment, look, I'm right there with you. Sometimes when I really see 10 million things wrong, I will just drop a little one-liner. And if that person replies and asks questions, then I'll engage with them. But I won't engage with the nonsense. I used to, and it was stressful because stupid people get on my nerves. So I quit as much as I can. And so, yeah, most people don't want to hear the truth. And that is a lot of it.
Yeah, they don't. But a month or so ago, Laura messaged me, and it's everybody on the duck groups think that niacin is going to fix everything for their ducks, right? Because niacin is important for ducks. Yeah, but too much niacin
is not a good thing.
Is
not
set
a
them on
good
fire. Thing. So I'm not trying to get Laura going on niacin, but the right amount of niacin is great. A deficiency can be a problem, but not everything in a duck is a niacin deficiency. And running to your local grocery store to get niacin supplement is not the right answer. But anyway, we're not going down that road.
Okay. So I just got one question. Is everything being a niacin deficiency for ducks kind of like everything being coccidiosis for chickens?
Pretty much. And then all the turkey people automatically jump to is blockhead is blockhead. I knew a lady out in Iowa who had gorgeous standard bred bronze turkeys, right? And they had a bad wave of mosquitoes and they all got fowl pox.
Yeah.
Okay. So their heads all started turning really dark and bumpy and all this. And before she could get us pictures to help her diagnose it,
Everybody said it was blackhead.
she went and offed them all. And she cut all their heads off and processed them.
Wow.
And and look, the woman was a veterinarian. Okay.
I have met some doctors that
We're going to leave.
That concludes this episode of the Poultry Keepers Podcast. We hope you'll join us next week when we start a session on poultry coop design. So until then, keep learning, keep improving, and keep enjoying the birds that you love.